I was so confused as I did it.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Hey everyone, and welcome to 10 Talks. I am your host, Kyle Garza.
I'm your co-host, Don Trimble.
And I'm your co-host, Nick Busta.
Today we're going to be talking to you guys a little bit about the subject of our first cars, the very first automobiles that we drove on the streets of the world. Don, would you start us off? Because you lost nose goes.
That's right.
I did lose nose goes.
Backside.
And I'm good with it, because I'm very proud of my first mobile auto. Dude, it was gorgeous. It was gorgeous, and it was the cheapest thing that we could absolutely. Oh my gosh, I scoured for this thing.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember too. It was either $2,000 or $3,000. Even
Nice.
made all those bills myself, and I found. I think it was a 94, but it was early 90s. Dodge Intrepid. Look it up. It's gorgeous, and you can look up. It was the same exact color as Rust.
Oh. Actual,
Which
like,
works out.
That's forward thinking.
Yeah.
Actually, no. I mean, when it was
Yeah.
made, it was forward thinking.
Yeah.
At that time, it was helping at that time. This was so needed. And I saw it. I was like, yes! And you got up close and you realized, like, if I lean on this, I might push through that. But it was good. It was good. It kind of had low miles for what it was.
Okay.
It was even under
used?
100,000. Oh.
Oh, very.
It was so used.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
I used it. And that was the problem.
Oh, you're the problem.
No. Before I used it, I remember I had to take my driving test, and I still had a month. But I had that thing in the backyard. I was so proud. Man, I paid for that. I was so proud.
Okay.
And I had it in our backyard in this parking spot. Like this
Was
is
it on
not.
blocks or I mean?
You didn't have to do that much work.
Okay.
It ran. It did. But I remember the only thing I did is I got myself my own stereo system. And I was so pumped about this. Like, I would go back on a daily. I'm back there, and I'm figuring out. I had no idea what I was doing, but I'm hooking
you built
up.
It?
Well, I mean, it's like a kit.
Okay.
Right. Then you have to install it.
I'm still trying to remember. This is not a name brand. Like, it definitely wasn't Samsung or like something we've all heard of. No. It had blue. Okay, a blue little light that came around it. It was gorgeous, and I installed this whole thing myself. Oh, like I would go up back there and I like every wire I'm figuring out where it goes. I was so proud of this really terrible vehicle. Okay.
Yeah.
So proud.
That's how
and
it
I just
works.
go out there even when I was done
that too.
getting the whole stereo system in and just like sit in it.
Yeah.
And just envision myself driving. But I do remember this. I remember I got that same stereo system jacked after a cross country meet.
No.
Okay.
What?
Yeah, and it's on campus at school. And swear they bring me in.
Yeah.
Okay. After I've told them my stereo, it was, man. When they jacked it too, come on. If you're gonna go jack a stereo, okay, anyone out there, please,
Just don't. Just
Wait,
say
can we-
no.
please just cut
Could
the cord
you not?
because when they took it out, they were not gentle. Like they just wonk. They ripped out all of my cords that were internally a part of the car.
Oh no.
Ugh, they're just dangling. They're so messed up. I had to rewire this whole thing, and they found the kid who did it. Yeah, he's in a gang. He's with all these kids in school. They do this raid. Okay, they catch him, and I told them, okay, this is my stereo. This is what it looks like.
Yeah.
And I remember them bringing me in. They're like, we found it. We have your stereo. Okay, and I love my car still.
Yeah.
And I had no money to have, I had dangling wire still in my car. And I remember sitting right at my high school, and the dean of students is sitting there, and he's looking at me, and he goes, wait, we found a stereo, but how do I know it's yours? And I'm like, how many stereos got jacked
exactly.
here? And finally, I look at him, and I'm like, I don't know the brand. I didn't even know back then. It's got blue. He's like, well, I can't plug it in. How do I know? It's blue color coming. I don't know. And I go, wait. I installed this myself, and I remember it wouldn't sit right until I lodged this penny underneath. And I go, there's a penny. There's a penny, and it's underneath. I lodged it in. He flips it over, and he's like, here you go.
Ah, there you go.
Wow.
All right.
That is like fairy tale-esque in its restoration.
So proud of that car.
And they lived happily ever after. is the only way to end that story.
Dodge Intrepid.
What
Wow.
happened to it? The car, not the stereo. Like,
Basically, I got rid of it for $400. I can't believe I even sold it because I did no maintenance on this. I remember the alignment was super off because I never took it in.
okay.
And it would drive straight by me turning it like probably halfway to the left. And I'm like, I don't know if somebody bought it.
Yeah.
Like the thing barely ran, but yeah.
Wow, okay.
People
All
are
right.
desperate.
I loved that movie.
Last question. What was its name?
What was its name?
Yeah.
I don't
Doesn't everyone name
know,
their car?
but I loved it. This is definitely a thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, nothing. I love that thing, but I didn't
give it a
name
name.
it.
All right.
No,
A
it
car
was
with no name.
it was the Dodge Intrepid. I called it the Intrepid, you know. That was it. I should have. I'll come up with a name. I'll
Glorious.
tell you at the end of the podcast.
Post-mortem.
Okay? I
Yeah.
got this.
Right on.
I like it.
Okay? What do you guys got?
I'll go.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay.
Okay, I'll split this up. So, all right. It was a gift from my parents. They bought it for us, and that meant a lot to me because my parents they worked constantly. Money was not
Yeah.
easy to come by, and so the fact that they bought this car, and they bought it brand new, you know,
Wow.
and so that was like, I never expect that in a million years.
Your
Yeah.
parents
at
loved
all.
you.
Yeah.
Well, then I shared it with my older brother, and so it was like
Okay.
our joint car. Yeah.
Sure.
But it was the base model. It was a 2001 silver Kia Rio.
Ooh.
Kia
Yeah.
Rio.
Yeah, there you go.
See. Es verdad.
Yeah,
Dios mío.
South Korean Spanish there. It's very good. Okay, so yeah, it was. I named it Angel, and so yeah,
precious.
and so I love this car. All 96 horsepower. I mean, you floored it, and that
Many
car.
horses.
Yeah, just literally went just like no, it ain't happening. You know that
Yeah.
kind of thing. And so yeah, I'm trying. Exactly. It's like, oh, come on, please. And so, yeah, I love that car. A lot of good memories with that car. I mean, that was the car I took to college and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I remember when it hit 100,000 miles. When I knew it was coming, I wanted to celebrate when it got 100,000 miles. And so I bought sparkling cider and I kept it in the trunk. Along with
Terrible idea immediately.
You are
Well,
so
come on,
romantic
man.
already.
Oh,
I'm
no.
learning.
and so no, and yeah and Jenny, who like we were already engaged, you know, she was in the car. Like I'm like, Jenny, look, like it's gonna be now. Like we're driving on the road. I'm like, it's gonna flip, and it goes, and then we immediately pull over, and I bust out the sparkling cider, and we had a camera, and so smartphones weren't a thing yet. That was just a couple years away.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like we're taking pictures, and I still have the picture of me like with the car, like, you know, and and fun thing too, that's also when I learned what a timing belt is. And what happens when you don't replace it because you
Oh, yeah.
don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And so a friend of mine was borrowing it. I get a phone call from him saying, hey, so good news, I'm fine. Bad news, your car's gone. You know, like the time, like it just, the piston just went like through the engine.
Wow.
And it was just gone.
Jeez.
You know, and so, you know, to fix it would have been just way more than what the car was worth at that point.
Oh yeah.
But it just gutted me, like, you know, when the car was going to get towed and everything. I was there, and then Jenny was there too,
Angel.
and she's an angel, yeah.
With the
And
angels now.
there you go, exactly. Oh, that was good.
Oh.
And so she's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay." Then 30 seconds later, I kid you not, there's like, and I'm
No,
like,
you
"Oh,
cried?
yeah," and I'm like,
Aw.
"This is my
It's your
baby."
first baby,
Yeah.
When
dude.
my first car was gone, and somebody actually bought it for $400,
You were just rejoicing
I was
for
like,
$400. You
and I
sold
thought
your
the whole
baby.
time he was gonna come back and be like,
You monster.
"I've turned all the way to the left. I can't go through the intersection. Give me my money back."
Wow.
Good thing I didn't name it, you know.
That's so messed
That
up.
was the problem. Why did you name it? Okay, let's hear it. Start out with the name. I want to hear it.
So my first truck was Winona.
Winona, wow, that's a name.
Since childhood, dude, Edward Scissorhands, Beetlejuice, Winona Ryder was probably my first celebrity crush when I was
Okay.
little.
I like
Alright,
it.
alright.
So naturally, my first car was Winona,
Mhm.
and Winona was $500. I got her when I was like 16, so right when I got my license, pretty much. It was my brother-in-law's old work truck.
Okay.
Cost me $500 that I bought with my own money.
Oh, there you go.
Because I had been, tutoring and such. And it felt like a well-earned car. But I mean, it was a 92 Dodge Dakota.
Let's
Oh,
go.
yeah.
I mean,
Let's
it's
go.
a 5-speed stick shift.
Oh, you
And-
started with the stick?
That's impressive.
So it was stick, and I didn't know how to drive stick, so it was pretty much like it's learn or die.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's really how my parents taught me too, because
That's
my dad
awesome.
never took me on like back roads or parking lots or anything like that.
Yeah.
It was just we're going to the movies.
Let's
Go.
go.
And that was terrifying.
Dude.
I mean, like literally, like crossing 4 lanes of traffic, and like I don't even know what gear I'm in. I don't know
Yeah.
how to switch
Yeah.
well enough, basically. But he believed in me. So after much stalling, we always got to wherever we needed to get, basically. And it was I like to call it vintage. It was just pure garbage. It had
Nothing vintage about a
nothing
Dodge.
vintage about it.
Ever.
It
will not go
the
vintage.
gas gauge
Oh my
didn't
gosh.
work, so you had to go off of the mileage just to figure out, when you needed to fill up.
All right.
It had this really funny habit of just turning off at random points while you were driving. So you'd be driving on the freeway, for example, and the engine would just stop running, and you'd just start slowing down. And
Okay.
you just had to keep turning the key until it would hopefully start up again, with no rhyme or reason to the timing of it. I once got stalled on the exit of Ventura College, one of the stop signs, and they're single lanes.
Oh,
going
yeah,
in and
yeah,
out,
yeah. Okay.
And I blocked traffic for like a half hour practically, just because I was like, I can't start this up again. Probably wasn't a half hour, realistically speaking. It felt
feels
like a
like
half
it, though,
hour.
when
It
you're
felt.
there,
Because
Yeah,
I was
30
so
minutes felt like
embarrassed
half an hour, yeah.
until some guys basically came along and just pushed it with me
Yeah.
out of the way until it randomly started up again.
Yeah.
So after much money was spent in like timing belts and all this kind of jazz, we finally found out it was something wrong with the onboard computer, where one of the pistons would misfire in a sequence, and the car
Yeah.
didn't know what to do,
Yeah.
so it just turned off. And there was nothing we could do about that. So I had it for a number of years until one day I was stopped at a red light by the Ventura Mall with my buddy Kyle, who incidentally was like one of my best friends, not just because we were both named Kyle,
I was
just
gonna
'cause
say,
he's an amazing dude. And I'm sitting there just kind of hanging out with him. We're on our way to the mall probably. And I look up in my rear view mirror.
This is a terrifying
And
thing.
I mean, granted, I'm stopped at a red light, and in hindsight, I had half a second to think and realize that's a very fast-moving red object. And probably half a second later, this huge, like, sequoia plowed into the back of us, probably going 40 miles an hour is my guess. I shouted in anger scare, which is the only way that I usually get scared.
Yes.
Just to have the shock of it all. Getting rear-ended at a stop. Fortunately, didn't hit anybody in front of us because I was far enough away. And just was like looking at him like, dude, we just got hit. Are you okay?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I'm okay. That was scary. I'm like, I know, we just got hit. He's like, no, you yelled really loud. I'm like, yeah, that's how I freak out.
He was impacted by the yell, not the car.
It gets better. Step out of the car, and who should step out of the car behind me but this teenage girl who is still on her cell phone talking to her friend. I'm literally hearing her step out of the car going like, Becky, I have to call you back later. I just hit somebody. I'm so sorry. And she hangs up, and then she starts dealing with this with me. And I'm trying to just play it off all cool. Like, it's fine. Like, I took a picture. It's funny how you made that face earlier. We're taking a picture with your car because the bed guard basically had just completely wedged off and was hanging diagonally. And so I got a picture with it all messed up, basically. And it was like, I got in an accident. And I'd lived, and I don't have any kind of neck damage. or anything.
That's how I would have got out. Like, how are you?
Yeah.
I
I mean, we
we
found out later through insurance and talking to this girl's dad, basically, it's the third accident she'd been in where she hit someone while on her cell phone. And I'm just thinking to myself, dude, like, parenting
helped.
shouldn't be that hard.
Well, I mean,
There's
like
a
the
point.
third time. The
Yeah.
third.
Like, there's a 3-strike rule for a
That's the-
reason. So that was the end of Winona. She had to be sold for scrap because she was technically totaled, because to repair the body of the back of it would have cost more than the value of the car.
Yeah.
So I used the scrap from that, which is probably maybe $2,000 or $3,000, I think is what we got for it, just for like the pure metal that it was made of.
Sure.
Was the down payment for my second truck,
Okay.
which today is still named Ryder.
Hey, all right.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I think the moral of the story is don't name your car. But that turned out for you.
Or you get too attached, basically.
Yeah, that turned out.
Or give your car a
It really
first
worked
name
out.
that you can give it a last name to your second car.
Yeah.
I do really
Lessons
like it.
learned.
I'm a fan.
Lessons learned.
All right.
I'm not even much of a car guy myself. I mean, I was looking for something cheap that gets me from point A to point B.
There you go.
Exactly.
That's all it really was to it. Well,
Love it.
That was today's episode of 10 Talks. Until next time, we'll say once again, we love you guys. My name is Kyle Garza.